Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeexx. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using only the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. Hello ladies and fellas, and welcome to another episode of the Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey, and this time it's time for another Structure Deck episode. So we are tackling Structure Deck, Lord of the Storm, as well as Invincible Fortress today. So we are very rapidly closing in on the actually end of 2006 already. We are past the halfway point. But yeah, as always, let's take a look at what's in these decks and what we can cook up with it. So first and foremost, a Lord of the Storm, which is the deck that Jeexx chose to pilot. These are essentially just a wind and an earth structure. I won't go over every card as I tend to do with the structure episodes, but I do. Despite the card being pretty terrible, I do want to cover the cover card. Simorgh Birds of Divinity cannot be special summoned. This is extremely important in this set. And if you tribute summon this card, all tributes must be wind. Doesn't matter in this deck. And each player takes 1000 damage during each of their end phases while this card remains face up on the field. And this damage is decreased by 500 for each spell and trap that player controls, which means if you have 2, you are not taking any. Yeah, it's big, but it cannot be special summoned, and if you have 2 spell traps set on the field, it does nothing. It is just a terrible card. There's a bit of a theme here where this deck doesn't want your opponent to have back row with stuff like Sonic Shooter as well. Sonic Duck is here just because it's a decent beater. Slate Warrior, probably the best beater in the deck. We saw it last time. A 1900 attack, lowers the opponent's stats by 500 each respectively when destroyed by a battle. On flip, you can even make it a 2400 beater. Flying Kamakiri is the recruiter for winds, where when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you special summon a wind monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. Harpy Lady Sisters can be used since this deck has Elegant Egotist. It's just a big thing that has to be special summoned with a specific card before it can be revived. Bladefly actually pretty important in this set, and not only because it obviously helps wins against Earths specifically, but as you'll see with some of the breakpoints, attack boosting is actually very important in this deck. 1600 Bird Face, it just searches Harpy Lady in particular. You have Harpy Lady 1, 2, 3. Sylphid, you special summon it by banishing a wind monster from your grave, and when it's destroyed by a battle and sent to a grave, your opponent discards a card. It's a special summonable card, 1700 attack, which is pretty decent. Rock, discard fodder. I don't know how important it's going to be. The Harpy Lady lineup 1, 2, and 3. 1 is easily the best one, and it also gives you basically all of your monsters gain 300 attack in this set. Birdman Joe is the prime tribute monster of the deck, where you bounce all your opponent's back row when you tribute summon the monster. Since everything here is wind, it's 2300, so pretty decent. And finally, Harpy's Bad Baby Dragon is the last monster for the deck, where obviously you get better depending on your Harpy monsters. If you have 1 in addition to Pet Dragon is the only one that can be attacked. If you have 2, Harpy Pet Baby Dragon gets boosted up to a 2400 a beater, and then if you have 3, you get to pop a card once per turn, which is pretty powerful. Card destruction, most of these cards we have already just seen, so I'll just really quickly cover them. Card destruction, you can just use it to refuel your hand as well as fill up your graveyard for some stuff here. MST, just very good. Back row removal. Nobleman is going to be extremely good for this this set in particular, because the Earth deck wants to be setting a lot of stuff. Sorry, I forgot my Steam is on. Let me fix that real quick. And we are back. Sorry about that. I think that's the first when I've forgotten something open, so that's my bad. Elegant Ego, this can be used to summon either Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sister from your hand or deck, as long as Harpy Lady is on the field. Heavy Storm, obviously just very good field wipe, but a reason why you might not want to outplay it is Harpy's Hunting Ground, which is actually decently good field spell for the deck. All Winged Beast monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Very important, it's Winged Beast and not wind monsters, where there's actually a pretty decent amount of different one. You have dragons, even Sylphid is a fairy, Bladefly is an insect, as well as Kamakiri, Slate Warrior is a fiend. So you actually have a lot of non-winged beasts, unfortunately, as well. And then if Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sister gets normal special summoned, when the player who conducted the summon, targets a spell trap on the field and pops it. And this is mandatory. So if Harpy's Hunting Ground is the only spell trap on the field, it has to be popped. As for monster removal, you have a Lightning Vortex for this. Historic Party, Aqua cards, you have just pretty mediocre traps. Dust Tornado, usable, but you have MST, so that's obviously going to be better. Call of the Haunted for resummoning stuff, but as we established earlier, Simorgh, unfortunately, cannot be special summoned, so your biggest thing cannot be brought back. Magic Jammer, extremely good, obviously, to shut down spells. Sakura to Armor for the battle phase. And finally, arguably the best trap, I think it's either that or Magic Jammer. Icarus Attack, tribute a Winged Beast monster, then target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. Once again, it has to be a Winged Beast, not only a wind, but still being able to go essentially a 2-for-1 if something of yours is going to be swung over, and then you can just use that and pop that and something else. It's very good. As for the Invincible Fortress, which is the deck that I will be playing, I think this is a better deck, personally, than the Lord of the Storm, but I might also just be setting myself up for failure. So, Exiled Master of the Guard is the name card of the set. It's not as bad as Smorg, because when on the field, it's a 4,000 defender, and each time an Earth Mother flip summoned while this count remains face up on the field, you immediately burn your opponent for 1,000, which is decent. But unfortunately, the only way to summon this is to special summon it by tributing a Sphinx monster. And as you'll see, it's pretty hard. A Giant Rat, we also have a Recruiter, so something as Flying Kamakiri. A Guardian Sphinx is one of our Sphinxes. It's a level 5, so tribute set monster with 2400 defense, which, if you remember with Birdman Joe, is the biggest thing, is where these break boosts start being important. So a lot of the cards here are very big and hard to swing over without boosts for the wind deck. Once per turn, you can change the card to face down defense position, and when it's flip summoned, you return all monsters your opponent controls to the hand. Gigantes, you banish an earth monster from your graveyard. You can summon its 1900 attack, so it's one of the better beaters in the deck. And when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you pop all back row on the field. Then we get the more defensive cards. We have Stone Statue of the Aztecs, as well as Moa Interceptor Cannons as our 2k walls. Moa Interceptor Cannons can flip itself back into face down defense position, and Stone Statue inflicts double battle damage to your opponent when they attack the monster. Golem Sentry, we've also seen it before as well. 1800 defense. Once per turn, you can change it to a defense position, face down defense position, and when it's flip summoned, you return a monster your opponent controls to the hand. Our premier tribute summon is Hierarcho Sphinx, Also, we've seen this before as well. 2400 with a single tribute is obviously very good. Your opponent cannot attack face down defense position monsters you control, which is very good. They have to get over Here Goes Things first, and obviously it's very big. Mecha Dragon, we have another boss monster available to us. Can be normal summon those as kind of spell summon for banishing a rock type monster from your grave. And the number of banished rock type monsters to summon this times 700 is what its stats are going to be. So a pretty nice late game payoff. Guardian statue can also be flipped to face in a defense position once per turn. When flip summoned, you return one monster on your opponent's side of the field to its owner hand. This is just a worse Golem Sentry. Medusa Worm on flip summon pops a monster in your opponent's side of the field, but it has to be a flip summon, not a flip, so it's not exactly a Man-Eater bug, but it can be reused. And finally, Sandmoth, our third 2k wall. If it's destroyed when in face-down defense position and sent to a grave, you spell summon it back with flipped stats, which makes it a 2k beater. So it's also very good. As for our back row, for the spells, we have a Canyon, where battle damage to your opponents is doubled if they attack a rock type monster in defense position. It's not very good. We also have access to MST as well. In this deck, we have actually Premature instead of Call of the Haunted. And what's interesting about Premature is with so many cards being able to flip themselves down. Obviously, if you use Premature on a monster, you can use its own effect to flip it face down, where then Premature pops. And sorry, Premature doesn't pop, but the monster doesn't pop anymore if Premature pops. Source of Revealing Light, another very good stall card. Obviously, Shield and Sword works as a finisher if you need it. Hammer Shot is there as monster removal for the deck. You have a lot of like gimmicky stuff. Then you have Brain Control if you maybe want to go for that to maybe get some beaters of your own. As for the traps, we have Waboku to protect our monsters as well as our life total. Ultimate Offering, very good, being able to set stuff during your opponent's battle phase. No Magic Gemmer here. Instead, we have Magic Drain. And both decks, I forgot to mention, both decks have Reckless Greed, but I feel like we've established that Reckless Greed just feels really bad to use unless you get to fire off multiple at once, which makes it super bricky to use. And finally, we have a Compulse to be able to have another way of flipping monsters back to our opponent's hand. So definitely the more defensive one. The aggressor will most definitely be the Lord of the Storm deck. And it'll be interesting to see how Jeexx manages to get through our defenses. But that was the set breakdown, or structure decks, I guess. So let's see what we can cook up with these in the dueling zone next.
Hello, how are you doing? We're currently struggling through Lord of the Storm. He's approaching. I don't know who he is specifically, but he for sure is approaching. And there's black clouds, and they're kind of isolated, if you like, you know. But yes, hello, how are you doing? We're doing structure decks. I think it's Lord of the Storm versus Invincible Fortress, and I think this isn't gonna go well for me. I feel like while there are some really good cards in this set, in this deck specifically, Nobleman Cross Out, Call of the Haunted, Icarus Attack specifically, like these cards are really good, and Heavy Storm maybe. But we'll get around to why I don't think these cards are as good as they could be, and why I feel like the Rock deck could probably win out this. But yeah, so let's start off with Birdface. Birdface is a 1.6k attack and defense monster with the ability of, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, add one Harpy Lady from your hand to the deck. From your deck to the hand. And then you have Harpy Lady, which is a very provocative art in this, because they don't have the default of the censored art in here, but still, don't worry about it. Which has the effect of all wind monsters gain 300 attack. So you use Birdface to add a Harpy Lady to your hand, and then use Harpy Lady to buff your entire board, because everything in your deck is a wind monster, right? And you have Bladefly, which is a similar card to Harpy Lady in the sense that it gives you 500 attack and 500 attack to all wind monsters, and reduce the attack of all earth monsters by 400, which is going to be really relevant against Here Goes Sphinx, which is a 2.4k beatstick, and Here Goes Sphinx is just like barely too big to be dealt with by Slate Warrior on its own, or even Swiftbird Banjo on its own. So Blade Fly is what we're going to be using to try to deal with it. Then you have Flying Kamakiri. Flying Kamakiri is I'd say, fairly useful card. It can't really search for Birdface or Heartbeat or anything but Heartbeat Lady and Bladefly and itself. Oh yeah, everything else in the deck is over 2.5k, which makes it a little iffy, but I think it's one of the best cards that we have access to here. It has the effect of when this card is destroyed by battle and set to the graveyard, you can special summon one wind monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. So it's a giant rat, but it's a giant insect. That's all there is to it. Then you have Slate Warrior, which I think we saw in a fairly recent set. It has the effect of this card gains 500 attack and defense when it's flipped. A flip effect specifically. And if this card is destroyed by battle, the monster that destroyed it loses 500 attack and defense forever. That's a really good effect. Like, this card is already bulky with 1.9k attack, and it's fairly squishy, so you can set it in face down and basically like deal 500 damage to your opponent's card and then deal with it with something else like Heartbeat Lady and Bladefly. But yeah, I think this card is probably the best card in the set. Then you have Swiftbird Banjo, which is a 2.3k attack beat stick, 1 tribute. If you tribute summon this card by tributing a wind monster, return all spell and trap cards on the field to the owner's hands. I think that effect is fairly useful. It could be significantly better, but I don't know if we'll be in a situation where it'll actually happen. Like, I imagine we're more likely to get a situation where we use Call the Haunted to special summon Swiftbird Banjo and use everything else to deal with spells and traps. Then we have Sonic Duck. Sonic Duck is a 1.7k beat stick, which with Bladefly beats our Hero Sphinx. Then we have Card Destruction. We've seen this card multiple times by now. You discard your hand, and both players just discard their hands and draw as many cards as they discarded. Harpy's Hunting Ground, which is a new card, has the effect of all winged beast monsters gain 200 attack and defense, which is in this case Birdface, Swiftbird Banjo, and Harpy Lady. Then, if any Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady sisters is normal or special summoned, the player who conducted the summon targets one spell trap on the field and the player destroys that target. This card can be really good, but I think it's a double-edged sword, specifically because the fact that the spell trap removal is not optional, it's mandatory. So it can kind of shit on you. Then we have Lightning Vortex, which I don't think is going to be that great, but it's specifically here for Hero Sphinx if Hero Sphinx starts running away with the game, or if we get into a situation where my opponent can't use Golem Sentry efficiently. This will deal with that. Then we have MSTs. MSTs are here for single target removal. There's a reason why we're playing MSTs for single target removal rather than playing Heavy Storms for AoE. And it's mostly because of the fact that we have continuous spells and we have a field spell, and we don't really want to pop those at all like stages of the game. So we're cutting down on Heavy Storms quite a lot to 3 in the side deck, and if we end up wanting to play more, we'll just side out some of the MSTs for that. Other than Nolan Crossout, we have discussed this card multiple times, like ad nauseum, and I think I can only say that we're playing against a defensive deck, and this card is really good against the defensive deck that sets cards face down all the time. Then Call the Haunted. Call the Haunted has the effect of, well, special summoning card from the graveyard. We've had this card show up multiple times by now. Dust Tornado, it's a trap version of MST, but it also lets you set a card. Icarus Attack. Now, this is a card that we had in a previous set, but we couldn't play. It has the effect of tribute one winged beast monster and target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. This card is really good for a slower format. Like, if you have a card that goes 2 for 2, you're already kind of winning out. Usually even more so if you're using cards like Call the Haunted to reanimate that card afterwards. So you can do stuff like attack with Harpy Lady into a card that you... Or let's say you have Harpy Lady on the field and you have to sack Harpy Lady to do something like anyhow. Then you can use Icarus Attack to sack Harpy Lady to get it out of the way of some kind of effect that might be happening. You can pop 2 cards on the field and then you can use Call the Haunted to summon Harpy Lady back. It's honestly pretty good. Magic Jammer, because my opponent might be playing spells, and I don't like that, such as Sword of Revealing Light. Then we have the side deck, Birdface, Swiftbird Banjo, 3rd copy of each, because I might want to play more. Then we have Harpy's Hunting Ground again, a 3rd copy, Heavy Storm, talked about that before, Call the Haunted, and then Hysteric Party. Hysteric Party has the effect of activate this card by discarding 1 card. Special summon as many copies of Harpy Lady as possible from your graveyard. When this face-up card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. I think this card would be really good if I could end up in a situation where I dump my entire graveyard full of Harpy Ladies, and I can get 3 Harpy Ladies out every time. Like, the fact that this art has 6 harpy ladies is such fucking bullshit. Man, that's false advertising. But yeah, it could be useful, but I don't think I'm going to be seeing any play for it. Icarus attack, a third copy, because I feel like running 3 of them in a situation where I have 3 winged beasts in my deck in 5. No, 5, 7, 10. I guess 10. Yeah, it's a little over half, but it's still kind of inconsistent. So I'm just playing 2 copies of them in there. Then I have Reckless Greed. Reckless Greed is a Feast or Famine card, and I don't really want to play it, but I'm putting in the side deck just in case I end up going into a situation where I have to turbo out something. So I'll just try to have multiple of these at the same time. Then you have Sakura to Armor, and Sakura to Armor is specifically face down, specifically in the side deck, because my opponent is going to be playing a lot of cards face down and just sitting on those and not really attacking me until he gets Hierarchy Sphinx out. And I think if he gets Hierarchy Sphinx out, I can usually deal with that with other means. Such as, or I would like to think I can deal with that with other means, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think that about does it. We're gonna be probably suffering for the entirety of this set, but good luck with the set.
And welcome back, guys and gals. Sorry, I accidentally said dueling zone, not deck building zone. That's my bad. I was already a step ahead because I actually had this deck built when I made the set breakdown. So let's take a look what we're dealing with here. So right off the bat, we are playing a single Exod. I just think it's cool, and I feel like these games are probably going to go pretty long, so it's actually not an impossible feat to be able to get Exod on the field. And if we do it, I don't know how Jeexx is supposed to get over it, so yeah. We are also playing a single Guardian Sphinx. Once better, you can change it to face down defense position, and when flip summoned, you bounce all your opponent's monsters to their hand. It's 2400 defense, which is also very good. We have 3 Hierarchy Sphinxes. It's our best tribute summon. It's our best beater. It protects essentially every other card in our deck. We can use it to go into Exod. Hierarchy Sphinx just does everything. It's also our best target for premature, pretty much. Giant Rat is here as a recruiter. When it's destroyed by battle, we can send to a grave. We can special summon a Earth monster with 1500 or less attack from our deck in attack position, which is actually most of our stuff, since most of our stuff is defensive. So we can use it to very effectively thin our deck, and with a lot of stuff like Golem Sentry and Medusa Worm being able to flip themselves down that turn, it's also means that we are not just leaving a weak monster in attack position for Jeexx to beat over. 3 Sand Moth, these are one of our 3 2k walls. If it's destroyed when face down defense position, it gets special summoned back with flipped stats, so that makes it a 2k beater. Golem Sentry, a reusable compulse essentially. When it's flip summoned, you bounce a monster to your opponent's hand, and you can once per turn set it back face down. We've already seen, like in the series, how extremely powerful Golem Sentry can be. So hopefully we can recreate what Jeexx did to me, where I can just turn one set Golem Sentry and then he just never gets a monster. Then we also have 3 Stone Statue of the Aztecs. It's just a 2k wall where your opponent takes a double battle damage when they attack the monster. We are also playing 2 more interceptor cannons just to have even more walls, 1 more in the side. We are also, like, I guess I'll cover, since we're covering extra copies, I'm playing 1 more Guardian Sphinx and 1 more Exod in my side deck if I feel like for games 2 and 3, I feel like I'm not getting good enough payoff and the games are lasting a long time. 3 Medusa Worm, it's just a reusable, essentially man-eater bug. It's not a flip, it's a flip summon where it pops, but it can also set itself back down, which means that if we get to establish something like a Hierarchy Sphinx maybe with Medusa Worm, it's going to be really hard to break through. 1 Mega Rock Dragon, this is essentially just our finisher. If we don't want to grind with stuff like Exod, we can just banish whatever we have in the grave that we don't feel like we want to go for premature. Just summon a really big Mega Rock Dragon and just swing over a Jeexx's stuff with it. As for the spells, we're playing 2 Hammer Shot, a 3rd one in the side deck. This is just because basically everything that Jeexx plays is going to have more attack than us, unless you count something like Sandmoth getting summoned with its effect, or Hirko Sphinx, or Mega Rock when it hits the field. But I just feel like for early game, this will be like really nice to stabilize, and especially to get rid of Slate Warrior, because Slate Warrior only procs if it's destroyed by battle, and it is massive. So, sorry, got a urgent phone call that I had to take, but where were we? Yeah, I was talking about Hammershot. MST is next, so we obviously just, if you look at the structure decks, both of them have pretty powerful spell traps, especially like stuff like Call of the Haunted is one of the scarier things that I think the Lord of the Storm deck has, with multiple monsters being able to boost your monsters up if Jeexx can actually establish a board and swarm us. Then there's not really much that we can deal with a super wide board, because if he can swing over our big walls, then stabilizing at that point will be really hard. So I feel like MST being there not only to protect us from Icarus attack preemptively, but also to help alleviate the pressure that comes from Call of the Haunted is very important. 3 Premature Burial. Speaking of stuff coming back from the grave, being able to reuse stuff like Hirko Sphinx is incredibly powerful, obviously. Unfortunately, we cannot be Exile cannot be spell summoned except with its own effect, so we can't bring that back. But 99% of the time, we just want to reuse our Hirko Sphinxes. And even if we have something like Hirko Sphinx, using Premature on something like Medusa Worm or Golem Sentry isn't actually too bad. And I think I mentioned it in the set breakdown but Premature, if the target of Premature flips itself down, then after that, if Premature gets popped, nothing essentially happens. So that's pretty good. Essentially, it turns it into a monster reborn with an 800 life point cost, which is very, very powerful. Next, we have 2 sorts of Revealing Light. I am playing the 3rd copy in the side, because if we feel like Jeexx being really aggressive and getting a lot of damage in, Swords is obviously just there to help us set a slower game state. And if Swords let us set into something like Hirko Sphinx with either Golem Sentry or Medusa Worm, I feel like that will be such an incredibly hard board to break through, because we just have removal every single turn that can't be swung over because of Hirko Sphinx, and Hirko Sphinx already is so big. I feel like that will essentially just be like a lock on a game in this set. So Swords, I wanted to kind of play 3 copies, but I didn't really know. Like, I was thinking of like taking out one my Interceptor Cannon for a 3rd copy of Swords, but I feel like I wanted to try 2 at first, and then we'll see if we need the 3rd copy or not in games 2 and 3. 3 copies of Compulse, sorry, to start a fire traps. It's just a removal tool, essentially extremely good, obviously. Still see some play today very occasionally. If it didn't target and it just bounced, then it definitely would still be an incredibly good staple. 3 Magic Drain. There's a lot of good spell cards in the in the Lord of the Storm structure deck. There is Heavy Storm, MST to pop our stuff like Premature, even the Field Spell in some scenarios. Magic Drain is just really good to make him go 2 for 1 to activate the spell, or just straight up negate it altogether. And finally, for our main deck, we are playing a single Ultimate Offering. I have the 2nd one in the side. I don't feel like I would ever want to play 3, because obviously you don't want to see multiples, but maybe because Jeexx obviously has access to so much spell drop removal, maybe want to go for the 2nd one, but I feel like I want to start with 1. Obviously, being able to set our pretty big defensive cards in his battle phase is very powerful, so I wanted to play 1 Ultimate Offering. As for the side deck, for stuff that we haven't covered yet, we are playing 3 Gigantes. This, if I feel like I sort of lose tempo, this is here to alleviate those scenarios, because obviously it can be special summoned by banishing just 1 Earth Monster from our grave. The reason why I didn't want to main deck this card is not only because like losing Earth Monster from our grave obviously loses us resources for Mega Dragon and Premature, but also when Gigantus gets popped, it destroys all spells and traps on the field, which we have stuff like MST, Premature, even Swords, and all our traps that we actually want to be setting, so we don't really want to see the field get nuked when it comes to spell traps. So that's why I am only side decking Gigantes, but if we need the extra tempo, I might slide a couple of these in. Third copy of Hammer Shot, we already covered. 2 Brain Control. This is essentially here just if Jeexx plays Simorgh. I don't think there is other stuff that I won't want to go for Brain Control for, but if he is playing like Hard Simorgh Burn, then I feel like with a lot of the attack boosting, and then Simorgh Burn on top of that, and Simorgh obviously being absolutely massive, is going to be like pretty hard to deal with. So I just want to have Brain Control for Simorgh just in case he is on that. But I don't think in any other scenario I would play this over the existing stuff that we have. Just a single Shield and Sword. If we establish something like Exod, it just turns Exod into a 4K beatstick. So this is essentially just a finisher. This is here mostly to slide in if we end up going for another Exod and Sphinx. So if the games feel like they're going for long and I can't really seem to close them out, and on the long run, like I lose tempo, then I feel like Shield and Sword is going to be good for those scenarios. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I feel like I should have enough tools to keep him in check, but there are multiple cards that boost attack in the a lot of Storm structure decks, so that's why I want to have this here as a finisher insurance. Already covered the extra copies of Swords and Ultimate Offering, so finally we have 3 of Weboku. It's very simple. It's there to preserve our life total if we need it. If it's there to preserve our monsters, maybe we want to have something live so we can go into Hiroko Sphinx. Hell, maybe we even would be losing one of our Sphinxes when we could actually establish Exod. So for those scenarios, it's just going to be nice to be able to protect our pieces for a turn. So yeah. Anyways, that is the deck. Hopefully you enjoyed the breakdowns, and it'll be interesting. I feel like these structure deck episodes are always pretty fun because there's like a clear theme going on with the decks. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all goes. So I will see you all in the dueling zone, and this time for real. Ladies and lads, welcome back to another episode of History Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey. Sorry for my lighting its ass today, but we'll just deal with it. And this time we are diving into the structures, Invincible Fortress, as well as Lord of the Storm. And Jeexx, do you have any comments about today?
I am the storm that is approaching.
Okay.
In isolation.
Now let's say if your motivated chair can penetrate this invincible fortress of mine. I know. No, I'm meta game this. I'm in your head. Anyways,
how can this be?
Go first, because last week you were reminded. Oh yeah, we gotta throw rock every time, right? And then when you don't throw rock, well, this is what happens.
This is what happens every time.
Anyways, it's actually interesting.
I hope that wasn't too loud, but
it wasn't. Don't worry, your mic peaked, so that helped us, I guess.
Oh fuck!
I will simply set a single monster and pass the turn.
I wonder if
it could be anything.
It could be anything.
I think in this deck I have like 2 cards that I don't want to set, so
I'm gonna play
Polymerization
to fuse together avian. Oh, I'm gonna
Sonic
Duck. I'm gonna play Harpy Something Ground.
Ooh, yep.
And I'm gonna swing
1900.
into your Golem Center.
It is a rat bastard.
A rat fucking bastard.
So now this is actually quite interesting.
You want to get another one so you can thin your deck out, or I think that's probably better.
I actually think that.
Huh?
Okay, I have made my choice. I will special summon in attack position
Guardian Sentry.
the bruh emoji.
Oh my god, I'm gonna set 2 cards and I'm gonna pass.
Yes, sir. I will draw. This is a hand and a half. Jesus Christ. I would like to tribute my bruh for a Here Goes Sphinx. Is that okay?
Yes, that's acceptable, yes.
I'll proceed to the battle phase. Swing for 15 over the duck.
I'm gonna activate Icarus attack.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be tributing my burb.
For
and
my
I'm gonna
burb.
target for your burb and my Icarus attack because I have to target 2 cards.
Oh yeah, it's not up to because we are playing old games here.
Real video games.
Yeah, I will just pass.
Hey,
Ooh.
that's a problem.
Now this is the polymerization turn. Polymerization fusing Sparkman and Bubbleman to create.
I'm gonna almost summon Slate Warrior.
Ooh.
And attack for 1.9k.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and pass. There's a problem, and it's in the wording of a certain card that is currently on the field.
Oh, the Harpy's Feather has to be mandatory? You having to pop whenever you summon?
That's a problem, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's not a problem when you play your Premature Burial. Which I assume you're going to do right now to get your Here Goes Sphinx back to swing over the Slate Warrior.
I will set a monster.
I see. I see how it is.
And
I just realized the person that performs Bury the Light is called Victor Borba.
Victor Borba?
Borba. That's a scuffed Pepe emote.
It should be Victor Corba. That would be better.
Oh shit.
I guess it doesn't really matter, honestly. I kind of don't want to. Yeah, I'll just pass on that.
Okay.
This is only for winged beasts, right? Yeah, so Sleepwear is 19.
It's a shame that it's only, 19.
Why is it a fiend and not a warrior? It's a slate warrior.
I don't know. I have no idea, honestly.
Weird.
I'm gonna summon a Harpy Lady 1, and I will pop my Magic Jammer.
Yep.
Then I will go combat.
This is for wins, right? Yeah, so
this is for
22.
Wins.
That is quite hefty. Yep. Golem Sentry to the grave.
He's a large boy now.
I will take 1600 from the lady.
Actually, 200 more.
Wait, isn't
Harpy's
it?
Hunting Ground. She's winged.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot. Too many attack boosts to keep track of.
It's kind of rough, I must say. And then I will happily set 1 card and pass.
And 18. Oh damn, those are some big numbers.
You know what would be funny?
Yeah.
If your deck had Harpy's Feather Duster and mine didn't.
That would actually be pretty insane. But I guess that's also why your deck has Heavy Storm, because it's a storm, and you are the storm that
I am the storm
in fact,
that is approaching.
I think I will set a monster, and I'll just fire off swords. So I'll at least have to find a way to burn that.
Standby, main. I am going to activate Icarus attack.
Yep. And I'm assuming you're targeting my 2 cards.
Yep. And then I will normal summon Bladefly.
Yep. So now
And
this
I will attack
is what?
for
24? Yeah.
And 24.
1100 and then 24.
And then I will pass.
This beatdown is hurting a lot. Set a monster and fire off second swords.
It's okay. I'm gonna top deck my crossout.
Third Icarus deck?
I can't use the third Icarus attack right now. I'm gonna cross out this.
Yeah, I know. It's just, yep. It is a Aztec statue.
Okay, and pass.
First turn on swords.
Where are my spell trap removal cards? I have 50 of them.
50 is quite a bit.
There's too many.
A normal summon. Rat.
You're gonna swing the rat into Slate Warrior?
I would like to swing it into the Bladefly instead for 300 damage.
Wait, no, that.
Oh
work.
wait, yeah,
Yeah.
it also lowers this. Yeah, so I'll just throw it in defense instead.
It's
I always
barely
forget
too
that,
small.
yeah, bro. It's Bladefly is one hell of a card. It's so crazy that that deck had has Bladefly, but this doesn't have Radiant for whatever reason.
It's so weird.
It is quite weird. Second turn on swords. I actually think I will pop your back row instead of.
Oh, you'll pop my Magic Jammer?
Yep. Then I will tribute my rat for a second Hero Sphinx.
Will you be swinging into the Bladefly?
Now I would very much like to swing in the Bladefly for what 800. Right? Isn't it 800?
No. 1.3k. Because it gains 500, right? Oh wait, it loses. Fuck. Oh,
yeah, yours is 1100 and mine is actually wait, no, it loses 400. So yeah, 900. Yep. Yeah, 900. Okay. Yeah, I can't do math.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me either. Don't worry.
I mean, there are too many boosts going on, and yeah, this will be the last turn on the swords.
What the fuck is this?
Love that for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Yep, and swords is gone.
I don't understand how I didn't draw a single one of my spell trap removals for 5 turns. That's fucked up. I know what I'm gonna be siding out at least. The storm is not approaching right now.
So awkward because like
swinging the Slate
Warrior, then the next one can crash with my Hero Sphinx. I actually think I will still kill the Slate Warrior. So Hero Sphinx down to 1900. And main 2, I will set a monster and pass. What are your cards in your hand?
I will normal summon Sonic Duck.
Yep. Oh,
Let me check how many Golem Sentries you've used. You've used two Golem Sentries, huh?
Yes, I have.
I will attack into your Hero Sphinx.
And they will crash.
Actually, no, never. Let me think.
Yep. I mean, you can swing
into your face down.
Yeah, you can, since Hero Sphinx's effect says that there is there is no choices to be made here.
Yeah, I just need to do that.
I think I would like to tribute my Sandmoth for my third Hero Sphinx.
This is a skill game, guys. Don't you agree? It's quite
turn 2. Immense. All of my Hero Sphinxes were in my hand. So yeah,
I'm outclassed right now, guys.
Hey, if it was something else, you probably wouldn't have gotten as much pressure early as you did, because I could have had actual playable cards. So. But yeah, turn 3, I had seen all Hero Sphinxes and 2 out of my 3 Golem Sentries. Awesome.
I don't think there's an out.
I could see that, because like without tributes, it's really fucking hard. Do I want to overextend?
Oh, there's an out. Never mind.
I mean, if you have it, then you have it. I'll just sit on the back row. I'll swing into this thing. Is it a slave warrior?
No.
Is it not?
No.
Setting slave warrior here is actually pretty good for you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me think before you do that.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
Never mind.
I mean, you already do. Go.
Yeah.
Go for
Sorry,
it.
I completely forgot you have Magic Drain in the deck.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I probably wouldn't have negated anyway.
I mean,
you could have still done it. Obviously, you would have drawn one less, but it's whatever. I don't think I would have Magic Drained it. So. It's scary, but I do.
I will
even
set
with
one
hindsight,
card.
I think this
Pass.
is the right play. Yep.
No, that's the wrong play.
I'll
should be more proactive in this case.
set on the monster and I'll just swing over this thing. Now it is a Slate Warrior, so
yeah,
down to 19. That's one more Slate Warrior. Let's get intense.
Let me just see real quick. You have only golem sentries, 2k walls, and giant rats. Let's see, if I assume that's a giant rat, then that's valuable if it dies. And you also have Aztecs and Sandmoth. Like these are the only cards that you really have so far, at least shown. So you only have 2k walls minimum. Basically 2k walls. I mean, this card does nothing. Just one.
That's disgusting.
Is it a fourth copy?
I am so sad. I'll go main one. I will flip summon Medusa Worm to pop this thing.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, Medusa Worm is pretty damn insane in that position. The card that I ripped off the top was Premature Burial, but I have exactly 800 life points. But yeah, the Medusa Worm there was absolutely massive. Because like at that point when it's established, like, how the fuck are you going to come back when I have Hero Sphinx and I can just keep popping stuff with Medusa?
I can just swing into the Sphinx, the face down, because I had the bird facing.
You can't as long as Hero Sphinx on the field, because it's... Yeah, the effect is actually insanely good. Like
I don't understand how this went the way that it did, considering the fact that I have like a billion spell trap removals in my deck, and I didn't draw a single card for spell trap removal when I needed it.
Yeah, you had the one MST, but at that point it didn't.
It didn't do anything anymore because you ended up. I drew it after revealing got destroyed.
Yeah.
Which made it completely worthless.
Yeah. I think I'll make this change. I think it makes sense, honestly. Maybe I'm being dumb, but I think this is fine. Oh yeah, let me pause this. And yeah, I think I'm done with that. I did notice that my cam had frozen. I tried to reset it, I tried to restart it, I tried to replug it, but for some reason it just wants to stay in the pose. So I guess now we're just dealing with this. I think it's kind of funny, honestly. What is not funny is this hand, though, but you know. Set a monster, set a back row,
the classic.
Set another back row and activate swords. What's your
set? Classic. My set is Flying Kamakiri #1.
It is in fact the first one, huh?
It is the original, and I'm also gonna activate Dust Tornado.
Oh, you bastard!
Fuck you. Cool.
I was gonna say, like, would you like the set?
I would like to set a card from my hand. And then I will activate Noble Banner Cross on your face down.
I'd rather you not.
It's gone. Be gone.
But do you have another spell card?
No, but I don't really care.
I
about
care,
having a
and
spell
that's why I'm
card in
doing
this case.
it.
Okay. I see how it is. I see how it is.
I
I
see
will.
what's happening here.
I will normal summon and I will attack the face down.
Why would you do that?
Cause I want to kill it.
But it's a moth, so you
Oh
can't.
no. I take 400 damage, but guess what I will do now? I will activate Icarus attack to heat your field. Fuck you.
Well, I will, in response, pop your Icarus attack.
Oh no. Okay. And then I okay. Now we're on the draw, basically.
We are. I'd rather not let
We're
you
not-
find stuff with your Kamakiri, honestly. So even my smaller stuff can swing over it, I don't think I need. So I'll just set a monster and pass. I think we're like vibing here.
I think we're not vibing in the slightest. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, you're a bastard. I hope you know that.
I do. I am.
But
aware
I
of
have
that,
a
yes.
rat. Now the question is, do I just? I think I just get another rat. Honestly, I
You
will
another
get
rat.
a rat that is 100 points less than your blade fly. Would you like to swing over it?
I'm thinking. If you, this doesn't really matter at this point because you can. If you have a Hero Sphinx, it doesn't matter, really.
And I
You can
will
always
get.
just- Yeah.
You normal the blade fly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think.
You should get Golem Sentry.
Yeah, I was
Actually,
just
yeah,
gonna
this
say,
was
like, I
missed, but-
think Golem Sentry is actually what I'll get here.
I think this was a misplay on my part. Yeah, I should have totally not attacked in here, and I should have forced you into using that yourself.
Yep.
I should have stalled. Because you don't have any agency in this situation, basically, if you have Giant Rat on the field, but now you have agency because you have Golem Sentry on the field. So if you can summon something that's bigger than 1.1k, for example, you can get over my Bladefly and kind of shit on me. I don't think you have anything that's bigger than 1.1k in this situation, but still.
I have a
If you have
weird line here,
Mhm.
which I actually think I might do.
You mean set Golem Sentry face down, flip it face up, bounce one of the cards on the field, then sack it for Hirkus Sphinx, and you swing Hirkus Sphinx into Flying Kamakiri or the one card that you left on the field?
I'll just skip a step. I'll flip Golem Sentry down, I'll flip summon it, and I'll actually bounce your blade fly.
My Bladefly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will then premature burial, back my rat, which is 1400, and I will crash our rat as well as Kamakiri, so I'll just skip a step.
Which one activates first? You trigger first, right? And then I activate first?
So I think you fetch first, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm turn player. Yeah. So you get yours first, and then I'll get mine. And obviously, yeah, this is in battle phase.
I'm gonna get rat.
Yeah, and I will get. Do I actually?
Another Golem Sentry?
I think actually I will get a Medusa Worm.
Okay.
Then we'll go main to set and pop Kamakiri with Medusa Firms.
You can't.
Oh yeah, I can't flip some, but I can set it
cannot flip
down.
some.
So yeah, I will do this, and then I will. Which one do I want to do? I actually think I will fire off swords. So no Hero Sphinx in my hand. I forgot flip summons.
Again, we're in a situation where I literally half of my deck is spell trap removal.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually half of my deck is like spell trap removal right now, and I don't have a single one in my hand.
Swords is a pretty good card in this situation.
To begin with, the cards are too big to kill half the time. They have cards to specifically make it so you can't deal with them. And then on top of that, they have the best card to deal with that.
Yep. But yeah, I will flip summon this thing. And then we will go poke for 1300.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
And then main 2, I will set both of my dudes.
Yep.
And I will pass. Man, Swords has really been the hero here. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, what the hell is this?
Getting skill capped again, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm just, I'm just better. It's... I will poke for another 1300. I will go main 2. And I will set both in the last turn on Swords. Exhilarating gameplay here, fellas, and Swords is gone.
Yeah. I swear if there's another Swords right after, I cannot handle that.
Don't worry, there is no more Swords. I'll just set a third monster here. But yeah, you already took the damage out. I will obviously do the same shenanigans. Are we having fun?
I hate this video game. I fucking loathe this video game. I will normal summon Slate Warrior.
Yep.
And I will attack your Medusa.
Worm is gone, unfortunately.
I will go
if it
main.
Will let me.
Yep. Main 2, and I set 1 card, and then I pass.
Alright. Start of turn. And drop. I would like to flip summon a second Medusa worm.
That's okay.
1 Icarus attack down. Yeah, we do the usual. Poke for a 13.
Into battle phase, I activate spell trap card Call of the Haunted.
Ooh.
Summon Slate Warrior from my graveyard.
I would like to redeclare and go to main 2. And then Hammer Shot. I will set my monsters. And I will pass. I feel like you're really like getting to play here.
Nah, man.
You didn't even want to see what you drew off card destruction?
No, it doesn't matter at that point.
You got rid of... Hey, you got rid of my one of Mega Rock Dragon with your card destruction.
Oh shit. I should have waited for my turn to pop Call the Haunted and then use Call the Haunted to get something I actually use and clear your field with that.
My last set was compulsory. Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, because that deck has compulsory and Swords of Revealing Light and Golem Sentry and Medusa Worm.
Yep.
What is this war crime of a deck, man? like the win deck doesn't have a win con at all. Like you just play attack boosting monsters and then just hope that they can swing over things. But because half of your attack boosting monsters don't interact properly with your actual like easiest to use attack boost, it just doesn't function.
Yeah, it's essentially kind of like how the first half of first game was. It's like you literally just have to beat me down before I can stabilize.
Yeah, it's like playing mono red without any way of removing cards.
The big problem.
Like sure,
Yeah, go ahead.
sure, I have Icarus Attack and I have Nobleman Crossout, but those are literally the only two options that I have for true removal against your deck.
Yeah, the big
'Cause-
problem there is like for your deck, it's like you need to be ahead and then stay ahead. But kind of, if I'm ahead, I have so many ways of keeping you from catching back up. But if you're ahead, I actually have pretty decent tools to actually catch back up. So it's kind
and
of
it
crazy.
all goes back to compulsory and premature burial and swords of revealing light, because all three of these cards basically make it so that I can never keep up.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you also have cards that are really good with these cards.
Yep, like
just-
over half of the deck being able to flip itself down means that premature just turns into a monster point that has a life point cost, which is kind of insane.
Do you know what my premier removal spell is in this deck? That is an Icarus Attack.
Let's hear it.
It's Lightning Vortex.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a lot, doesn't it? The card that
Unfortunately, it
says,
says face up. Imagine if that was
Yeah.
Raigeki. Imagine if
Now,
Raigeki
if that
was
was
banned
Raigeki,
at this
would
point.
be a fair shake, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think you would really care about Raigeki half the time. Because you can keep one or two cards on the field and just keep those up and use your spells and traps to keep me down and then establish your board again. Because you're basically mid-range control, whereas I'm aggro.
Yeah, at that point it would be pretty balanced because like I said, like right now it's essentially like how this deck's where now it's essentially if you can stay ahead, yeah, you win, but I have ways to catch back up. But if I'm ahead, then how do you get back?
Yeah. Like, Call the Haunted is really good. Like, it works really well considering Gear's attack and all that, but at the same
it's pretty
time,
good.
it's just like it's not usable on my turn.
It's kind of odd that they chose to give the clearly proactive deck Call of the Haunted and then this deck Premature. I really feel like it should have been the other way around.
It's probably because with Call the Haunted, you can use it at the end phase of your opponent's turn to summon the card in attack and then turn it into defense position on your next turn, which then would boost the degenerate strategy in a way. But now
Yeah.
with Premature Burial, because you have Guardian Golem Sentries, you have Medusa Worms, and so on, it literally doesn't matter that you bring the cards in attack, because you can just turn them into defense with their own effect.
Yeah, it was also really kind of crazy how consistently I drew swords. So I was playing a game when I was only playing 2 swords, but it saw so much value. I found also both copies, which is kind of nuts. It got so much value that I sided out of my single copy of Ultimate Offering and just put a third swords in. Premature and Compulse, I was obviously just playing 3.
I think Ultimate Offering is actually probably the best card in the deck for the deck.
It's very good because you can actually set stuff in your opponent's turn. I sort of just like from the first game, I sort of just figured like, okay, if I just keep you from poking me with swords for a couple turns, I can stabilize them with these recurring effects with stuff like Golem Sentry and Medusa Worm. It's really hard for you to catch back up.
Yeah.
Also, I was playing a single copy of Exod.
Oh.
Which is funny because I was also playing only a single copy of Guardian Sphinx, so I literally had the 3 Hero Sphinx and Guardian Sphinx the only way of summoning Exod. But But yeah, Hero Sphinx and Swords definitely MVPs.
Yeah, both of these cards, like the fact that your 2.4k beat stick is 2.4k first off.
Yes.
It doesn't have it has an effect that literally facilitates your entire game plan.
It's very good in this matchup.
Like, what the fuck? I can't even poke out the cards that I need to kill. I gotta deal with this big thing, which is bigger than anything that I have on the field, and it's bigger by it's by neutral in a neutral game state. It's bigger than my beat stick.
Yeah, it's a big
It's
problem that you need the boosts to be on basically equal footing.
yeah, it's like playing, like I said, it's like playing aggro. Like I have to, I'm the beat down, and I have to keep up the whole time. I have to be aggressive. I have to be proactive. But if I'm not, if I do that, I honestly have zero chance of surviving a compulsory, a sort of revealing light, a basically anything that has 2k attack or defense.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I just realized.
The reliance on attack boosts were like the biggest problem because you always have to invest more into a situation to get the most out of it, and then you just have like subpar tools of dealing with when you're behind, unlike this deck,
Yeah,
which kind of sucks.
I think if this deck had Raigeki, and if this deck had a higher, if Kamakiri by nature like was just a flat wing based monster, this would already be better.
Yeah,
Like actually, if Kamakiri was a wing based monster, this deck would be instantly better. Because you could then make the argument that Harpy's hunting ground, making it a 1.6k beater, so it's just basically better than most generic like tutors would be good. On top of the fact that you can use it for Icarus attack, sure it doesn't proc from Icarus attack, but it's still like a card that has value. And then I wouldn't be sitting here thinking about how 9 cards out of my 19 like wind monsters are non-wind, non-wing based.
yeah,
That's it.
that kind of sucks. I guess like at that point they didn't have too many wing beasts that were like decent enough or something, but it's definitely kind of sucks because like obviously with this deck, like for megalith dragon, like literally
Everything is a rock.
mega rock, sorry, everything literally apart from giant rat is a rock, so it
Yeah.
also flows together. Overall, just like I feel like overall, if you just take the cards out of that deck, it's a pretty decent deck. But in the context of a matchup like this, like Bladefly does a lot, but
In the
that
matchup, yeah.
that's kind of
But you know what Layfly actually doesn't do?
yes,
Fuck all. If I'm attacking into defense position.
yep. It's
Because if
essentially there just to boost your other stuff, which helps if you're ahead, but if you're not, then
you can totally like, I was talking about this with a friend of mine,
mhm.
and he was discussing how Bladefly is basically a win more card. And
Yes.
I made the argument that Bladefly doesn't like isn't purely a win more card in this because I need its 500 attack
I
boost
was
and
just
400
about to say that it's essentially your training wheels here, but the training wheels, unfortunately, also are the only wheels that you have back there. So
Yeah. Like
it's
I require Bladefly to be able to effectively use half of my deck.
Bladefly does
And
a lot if I have Hiraka's things, but
it
and
does, yeah.
apart from that, it's like you essentially need it for your monsters to be able to swing over the walls, because a lot of stuff like Birdface is 1600, Harpy Lady is 1600 essentially. Like a lot of stuff apart from Slate Warrior is like pretty small, so only a single boost from stuff that isn't Bladefly in a lot of scenarios doesn't even let them swing over the biggest stuff that is like
Yeah.
Sandmoth and
I mean,
Aztecs.
Sonic Duck and I mean, yeah, true. Hyper Something Ground doesn't even make it so that Sonic Duck can swing over those walls, which makes
Yeah.
it really bad. Like that's why the wing con of using Flying Kamakiri would be good because then if you have Hirko Sphinx on the field, I can do that and I can just swing Flying Kamakiris into it and I can use that to then search out Harpy Lady eventually.
Yeah.
But I kind of blanked on the fact that oh yeah, I can't really do that, can I? I can't reliably pop my own Kamakiris in battle.
Yeah. Because
So
there's just a lot of tools here, so I definitely like think I do still think I think this deck is a bit better than the Wind deck, but I think it like the matchup
no, no,
makes
no.
it infinitely worse when
I
you consider these two decks against each other.
I think if you take the good cards out of the Wind deck and put them in any other deck, the other deck would infinitely be better.
I mean,
I
yeah,
don't
if
think
like at this point in time, like Icarus attack is crazy.
Yeah, but the problem would be that I don't have the winged beasts to
Yeah,
facilitate
exactly,
using it
exactly.
consistently.
I guess that's a large part of it why they could print it, because like for the time Icarus Attack was an insane card, but then when you think of like what were the winged beasts that were available at the time, it kind of makes sense. It's it's kind of cool how you have like more niche archetypes, more niche like uh even now I'm losing the word, not attributes, but the other types of
Yeah, types.
monsters that you can like print, but like objectively better support for, just because there's less of that. Like also, if you look at just rekindling, obviously an insanely good card. So it's kind of cool, but yeah, obviously at this point it's like, yeah, it's good, but the amount of cards that you can use it with in your deck is like a quarter. So Icarus Attack and
Yeah.
Harpy's Hunting Ground both relying on Winged Beasts kinda sucks, and obviously both being mandatory effects as well, so also makes
Yeah.
them a bit more awkward to use. So
I'm wondering if it would have been worth playing Cyber Harpy Lady, but now that I think about it, it's only gonna be 2k if I use Harpy's Hunting Ground, so it still doesn't fix that issue.
yeah, were you playing Egotist at all?
No,
Yeah.
because I figured it's just not worth it because I can't hit like consistently enough. I would have to play 3 copies of Sisters for it to be worth it.
Because what I was like when I built the preliminary, because like we like building the other deck as well to sort of see like what we might be dealing with. I think in that I had like 3 Harper Lady, but I think I had 2 Egotist and a single Harpy Lady Sisters, because it can also summon Harpy Lady. So I figured like,
Yeah.
okay, if I best case scenario, if I don't hit my Harpy Lady Sisters, then obviously this could get that, which is the biggest value for it. But if it doesn't, then I can just grab another Harpy Lady and it's
I mean,
fine. But
I guess the
it would
best
still be
like
pretty
possible
bricky.
situation would be to have a Harpy Lady, an Egotist, and a Harpy's Hunting Ground in hand, and then you play Hunting Ground, you play Egotist, or you play a Harpy Lady, you pop a Spell Trap, then you play Egotist, and then you pop a Spell Trap, and
Yeah,
then
that
you
would be a
have two
very good.
Harpy's Ladies that are 2.1k each, and then those can just control the field. But that's like the most optimal free card
Yeah,
ever.
it's pretty magical fairyland situation. Where I mean, we've had those a couple times,
I
namely.
mean, we had one last
Yeah,
episode.
I was gonna just point out. I mean, namely last episode, something pretty anime happened. So we have definitely had those moments. So it could happen, but ultimately, like I think you still do want to make the most consistent possible build, which that definitely would not be. So,
No,
but I
but yeah,
mostly I just do think that this definitely like was just a really hard matchup.
yeah, I think overall this could have been better on my side, especially the last turn. I misplayed on my last turn quite hard, honestly. Like I legitimately fucked up. And I think if I didn't do that, there could be an argument for this game going extremely different, actually.
Mm-hmm. But
But
that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. In hey, it's
yeah,
called a learning journey. So every mistake we make, we can chalk up to hey, it's part of the journey to learn.
true and real.
But yeah, next time it's gonna be Power of the Duelist. I was reminded by Jeexx of that today, because there are so many sets that are off the something off the Duelist. There are even like those you could probably make a 2 months worth of content just out of off the Duelist sets. So that is next. After that, we won't spoil. If you want to look it up, you can. But if you know, you know, the greatest set ever
The
printed in the
greatest.
history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then after that, following that, is going to be more structured decks, which actually I think we're pretty excited for those as
Yep.
well. But I think Power of the Duelist will actually be a lot of fun as well. There are some cards in there that hold a very special place in my heart, and we maybe might see them next week. So it'll be interesting. And also, not that it really matters, but this will be the last time for at least quite a while that you'll see this background for me, because I am going back home to my apartment in another city end of this week. So getting back to the regular stuff. But all of
Finally,
that is
good
in
lighting.
yeah, all of that is in the future. Anything you want to add, Jeexx, before we end it off?
I am the storm that is leaving. I am highly unmotivated.
He is not motivated in the slightest, and he is gone. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching, everybody, and we hope to see you next time for Power of the Duelist. So, see you then. There. Peace.